On this channel, I've tested dozens and dozens of solar panels, I've tested dozens of batteries, and I've finally found the system that I'm going to install in my house. To achieve my goal of becoming 100% self-sufficient, I started by installing 18 solar panels on the roof of my house. That corresponds to 9,000 peak watts, and that's literally the maximum I could put on my roof. There's no more space left, everything is taken. That's also the maximum number of solar panels that the BIM battery can handle, the heart of the ecosystem I've chosen to adopt. In this video, I'll show you my entire setup, its cost, and most importantly, its earning potential. And in a year, I'll make another summary video where I'll have tracked all the progress to see if this system really allowed me to be 100% self-sufficient. We start here on my terrace with the BIM battery, which will be the heart of the ecosystem. Just to remind you, the BIM battery is a modular battery with a head that includes a hybrid inverter and batteries that each have 3. 3 kilowatt. For now, I only have 3 battery blocks, so I have 10 kilowatt hours of storage. But soon, I should receive the 4th one and then go up to 13.4 kilowatt of storage. That is the maximum you can have with this system. On the side, I have 3 inputs that correspond to 3 3,000 watt maximum power point tracking controllers, each of which can handle up to 6 solar panels. The downside of having only one maximum power point tracking is that if just one of your panels gets shaded, dirty, or broken, and therefore produces a bit less than usual, that will also impact the production of the rest. With 3 MPPTs, I can therefore put 6 panels to the east, 6 panels to the south, and 6 panels to the west, for example. That way, I can smooth out my production throughout the day. I can also put 6 500 watt panels, then 6 460 watt panels, and 6 400 watt panels. You'll see, this isn't a random example. My rooftop setup is not uniform, with panels from various brands and power ratings, yet it still functions very well. The battery is connected to an alternating current protection box in my house and then directly to my electrical panel to power everything. And it even works in case of a power outage, unlike all the other batteries I've tested on this channel. So, in theory, with this system, I should be able to be 100% self-sufficient. As long as I don't use more than 6,000 watts in my house, since that's the maximum power the battery can deliver. But I still need to produce enough electricity. Fortunately for me, I've tested a lot of solar panels on this channel, so now they're all kind of on my roof. Before I introduce them in detail, I first need to explain how I connected them to my BIM battery. Remember, there are only 3 inputs on the side of the battery, not 18. There's really nothing complicated about it. I simply connected the panels in series 6 by 6. I'm putting a diagram on the screen for you. It'll be much clearer than 1,000 words to show how to connect all these panels together. I had 2 options. The first option was to buy 100 meters of 3 grams 4mm cable, special for solar panels, and about 40 MC4 connectors. And then cut the cable to the right length each time, crimp the connectors, and make all my connections. I didn't choose this solution for the simple reason that it would take a huge amount of time to do all that work. Moreover, crimping MC4 connectors is an extremely delicate operation. That means that if you make a mistake, not only might it not work, but there could also be electrical arcs and major safety issues. Installation could catch fire, so professionals usually handle it. So I preferred the second option, which is to make a diagram, figure out exactly what cable length I needed, and then buy pre-made, already crimped cables online. That way it saved me time. I'm sure there won't be any connection problems, and from a safety point of view, I won't have to worry about it. Everything was done at the factory, well controlled, and that's it. So I didn't buy crappy cables. Be careful, don't buy these solar cables on Temu, you still need to buy good quality ones. It's an installation that's going to last 15, 20, up to 40 years. We buy good cables so that my installation lasts over time. I'm also going to buy split conduits, so those are conduits that open on the side. It allows you to run all the cables inside to protect them from the elements. It also makes it look a bit more aesthetic. And of course, I'm going to put in a lot of cable ducts and things to finish my installation there. What you see on camera won't stay like that. You won't see cables everywhere. I'll do it myself when I have time, but pretty soon anyway. At the end of my setup, I have 3 male cables and 3 female cables. I have my ground because I've connected all my solar panels together just to ground them and be safe. I won't connect that directly to my BIM battery. I'll connect it to a test protection box first. It's the C15712-3 standard that requires us to install a test box. When the inspector comes, he's going to check that I do have my test box. BIM sells it here, everything meets standards and is perfect, keeping me safe, plus the inspector can approve it later. Once I've put everything in there, I can come out with my quarter cables and my ground cable and put all of that into my BIM. As for the battery itself, you can connect any panel to the battery. It doesn't have to be BIM panels. It doesn't have to be exactly the same panels. However, if you put, for example, 500 watt panels and a sixth one that's 100 watts, the total power won't add up. It'll be limited to the weakest panel. So basically, you won't have 500 plus 500 plus 500 plus 500 plus 500 plus 100. You'll actually have 6 times 100 watts. In summary, for example, on my first maximum power point tracking, I connected 6 bi-mount panels of 460 peak watts each. That's 6 times the same panel, so there's no problem. That gives me a total power of 2,760 peak watts on the... For the second maximum power point tracking, I connected 2 new 500 watt B-mount panels that just came out and are excellent as solar panels, and also 4 anchor panels of 540 peak watts that I had from previous videos. Theoretically, I exceed 3,000 peak watts, but in reality, the weakest panel determines the installation's power. So it's fine. It's as if I had 6 500 watt panels in summary. And anyway, the maximum power point tracking will limit the input power, so that I never have more than 3,000 watts coming in. So let's say on the second maximum power point tracking, I have 3,000 peak watts of power. And on the third maximum power point tracking, so I used all the remaining panels there. I have 2 460 watt bi-mount panels, 2 450 watt anchor panels, and 2 430 watt dual sun panels. So once again, it's the smallest panel that's going to limit the whole installation. So I won't have 460 plus 450 plus 430. I'll have 6 times 430 peak watts. That's why when I test other panels, as soon as I get some more powerful panels, I'll swap out a few to upgrade my installation. The setup is already good with everything installed, but theoretically, it's not at the maximum capacity of 9,000 peak watts. I actually have 8,340, but for this video, let's say I have 9,000, because that's what you'll have. If you ever do this installation, you'll buy 500 peak watt panels that go with the battery. So there you have it, all the calculations for profitability, production, etc. It's more interesting if we use numbers that make sense to you rather than to me. My case is very unique, I'm special. It's time to see how much electricity I'll produce each year. According to the Photovoltaic Geographical Information System website, with 9,000 watts peak, I should produce about 10,902 kWh of electricity per year. Knowing that the panels will lose about 0.5% of power each year, reaching 80% after 40 years. To better understand these numbers, we can convert them into euros. The price of electricity is currently at 0.20 euros per kilowatt hour in France, and BIM estimates that it should increase by about 5% per year. Theoretically, that would mean an average energy savings of 3,000 per year over 15 years. That is the battery warranty, even though in reality, the battery will probably have a longer lifespan, about 20 years. The panels can last up to 40 years. So why do I say that I should theoretically save 3,000 euros per year? That's because I will never consume 100% of what I produce. In the summer, there will be times when I will produce more energy than I consume, and I'll send the excess back to the grid. There's also the fact that my house is very, very well insulated. In 2024, I only consumed 3,250 kilowatt hours of electricity. That is not even a third of what my solar panels should be producing. So I will probably send a lot of electricity back to the grid, and therefore my installation will pay for itself a little less quickly. From there to saying that I oversized my system, it's just a small step. But in 2025, a major change happened. I got an electric car, yes, I know, I don't like it either, but well, I had to buy an electric car to make use of all my production. From the 18 panels I have on my roof, I drive about 25,000 kilometers a year, and I do half of my charging at home. That means about 12,500 kilometers a year. The car averages 150 Ws per kilometer. So per year, I should increase my electricity bill by 1,875 kilowatts, which still means 73% more consumption. That's when you realize the true electricity consumption of an electric car. And if we all switch to electric cars tomorrow, we would have to be able to produce 2, 3, even 4 times more electricity nationwide. Quite a challenge, really. In short, my solar setup should produce about 10,900 kilowatt hours per year, and I should use 5,125. That means I literally have twice as much production as I would have consumption. But that's normal, because you always have to oversize your setup if you want to be self-sufficient. So you can produce enough in winter when my house will use a lot and my panels will produce less. The good news is that we're dealing with a standard installation that meets regulations, not a plug-and-play setup. And so it can be approved by the Consuel. And approved by the Consuel, that means I'll be able to sell my surplus electricity, and I'll show you all the different options for selling it in a future video. Furthermore, I can optimize my surplus usage with my electric car. The BIM electric car charger knows precisely how much I produce, consume, and the amount of surplus I have, which I would normally have to send back to the grid. And I can decide to charge my car only with the surplus from my solar panels. That way, I'm sure to use 100% of what I produce and send as little as possible back to the grid. So let's say that in my case, about 50% of what I produce will be consumed by my house and 50% will be sent back to the grid and sold. About 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Let's assume that the resale price doesn't go up, that it will always stay at 10 cents. But in reality, I think that when the price of electricity goes up, the resale price will go up too. Estimating is difficult, so for our calculation, we'll use 10 cents. Based on these numbers, on average, over the next 15 years, I should save about 1,506 euros on electricity each year. I should be able to sell around $526 worth of electricity annually. So in total, I should earn about 2,032 euros per year. This calculation is very personal. If you consume more than I do, your self-consumption rate won't be 50%, but will be higher, let's say 75%. For example, you will then save 2,259 euros per year, and you will sell back 263 euros, which will earn you 2,522 euros each year. Let's discuss profitability next. In a year, I'll make a concrete video where I'll really see how much electricity I've saved over the past year. But we can already ask ourselves a question today. Theoretically, could this system be profitable? On the BIM website, you can buy 6 BIM ON for 2,229 euros, and for 18 panels, that would be 6,687 euros. Add about 300 euros for cables and MC4 connectors, bringing the total to 7,000 euros. The BIM battery, with 4 modules, so 13.4 kilowatt hours, costs 9,990 euros. This brings the total to around 17,000 euros, noting that this is a theoretical price. You will actually get a quote with a BIM advisor, and the price may vary depending on the specifics of your installation. To determine the best installation for your needs, I suggest running the simulation on the BIM website. An advisor will then take charge of your project and will even offer to finance it over 7 years if you wish. That way, you won't have to pay 17,000 euros all at once, and instead you can pay it back little by little each month while you save on energy at the same time. In my case, knowing that I will only self-consume 50% of my production and sell the rest, the system should become profitable after 9 to 10 years. If you self-consume 75% of your production and sell the remaining 25%, you'll likely be profitable after 8 years. And if you really have a lot of electricity consumption, especially in the summer, and you manage to further increase your self-consumption rate, you'll make the installation profitable even faster. Nonetheless, it takes 8-9 years to make an installation with a 20-year lifespan profitable. That's already a very good investment. Knowing that in 20 years, when I have to change my battery, my solar panels will only be halfway through their lifespan. So the new battery I install will pay for itself even more quickly. In brief, it's a great investment. Solar power protects us from outages, which is significant. I also prefer this more democratic model of society. Since we would be relocating electricity production a bit, by producing our own electricity, we would also understand the value of energy. And so we would think more carefully about our consumption, we might even consume less. And above all, we would be contributing to the national effort to produce green energy, or at least energy that doesn't come from fossil fuels. So yeah, I really like this whole movement around solar energy. And also, subscribe if you want to follow all our upcoming solar panel tests, all our upcoming reports, all the next videos we'll make on this channel. Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss. Which system are you interested in for your home? See you soon on the channel. This was Julian. Bye.